Good evening and welcome to the Trading the Tech Show. My name is Derek and this is iLi Academy. Today is Monday, March 15th, 2021. So looking at the results from the markets today, the US markets, we see that the Dow Jones was up 174 points to 32,953. So another up day on the market. We're just slowly just progressing to the upside here. And so the bulls are definitely taking control and pushing the market higher. Not super huge amounts, but almost 200 points is big. The S&P 500 was up 25 points to 3968. The NASDAQ was up 139 points to 13,459. The Russell 2000 up 7 points to 2360. We noticed the VIX was down again about 3.9%, down 0.66 to 20.03. So as the VIX falls, then we tend to get movement to the upside in the Dow Jones. So we're going to take a look and see. It's Monday night finally, so we're going to take a look and see what type of direction has kind of set up, what type of opportunities have set up in the market for us so far, and we're going to check out and see if there's opportunities for us to trade tonight. Typically there are, so we're going to see what exists. All right, let's go through the charts and just see what we have here. So for the Aussie CAD, we're trading below our 720 here. Our moving averages are all below the 720. We did pull back here past the 50, about halfway to the 100 for a little bit there. So we could have maybe shorted on the 50 itself, and we'd be sitting right about on the 50 right now, as far as at least the bid price would be. So that's the opportunity that we have right now to short when this actually rises above the 50 again. The rate rises above the 50. If it rises above the 100, we can improve our order. As far as the Aussie yen goes, we're trading above our 720 here. We've got all our moving averages in order to the upside here. So we do have a mature trend. It's a little flat though. You can see how the moving averages are flat. They're kind of together in a small little space there. So we want to see them start to widen out, maybe get a little bit of angle to the upside here. But we did yesterday get an opportunity as the price or the rate dropped down here below the 720. We got an opportunity to trade on the 100 or the 50. We could have dropped our orders there and then had positive orders. As far as the Aussie New Zealand goes, we're trading above our 720 here. Now we've been finding some support maybe a little bit along this 720. We can see here that we've getting higher lows kind of going on. This type of situation is happening on our chart. So we're picking up steam here maybe to the upside. So my expectation is that it would continue to the upside. Right now we're below our 200. We're below the 100. At least the bid is below the 200, but the offer is not. So if we're placing an order, we place it here on this 100 to buy. It's a little close to the offer right now, but that's really the only place that we have to buy unless we drop down here and test this trend line again. All right, so but we're above the 720. All the moving averages are above, so our preferred direction is definitely to the upside here. As far as the Aussie US goes, we're trading below our 720. We see the 720 has been flat here. It kind of came down here way back on the 11th and then just flattened right out and just flattened right out for days here. So, and our prices have just been kind of bouncing right around that 720, bouncing above and below it, just hanging in there. All the other moving averages kind of, at least the long-term moving averages kind of went flat across the board too here for the last day or so, day and a half or so. And we're continuing that now. So our pension is to the downside, but we want to see this kind of separate and open up a little bit before we place any type of order here. Here's our CAD yen. On our 30-minute chart, we can see that we're trading above our 720 here. All the moving averages are in order to the upside. The 8 is slightly above the 21 here, but we see that there's a little consolidation going on in the price right now. So this may actually continue on to the upside here and maybe breaking this previous high. We'll have to see, but we'll see if we get some pullbacks past our 50. We got one here early, at end of the day, kind of end quarter of the day, yesterday, and we could have dropped an order on this 50 if we were there paying attention to it, and we would have a profitable trade, not by a whole lot, but we would have a profitable trade at this point. As far as the Swiss yen goes, we're trading above our 720. All the moving averages are in order to the upside. So all we really have to do is wait for a pullback past the 50 or past the 100, and then we can ride that order to the upside. As far as the Euro Aussie goes, we're trading below our 720. We did have opportunities yesterday twice for it to trade above our 200, and then pretty much within hours, we were profitable, quite profitable here. We had another opportunity here where it jumped up above the 720. We could have been profitable again, dropping the order on the 200 and shorting. So we're going to look for more opportunities like that. I do see where this is just kind of trading off to the right here. Got a little bit of a move, a little bit of a trend maybe to the upside as far as the, as far as the lows go. We're a little bit underneath the trend line right now for that. So that might act as a little bit of a point of resistance as traders watch that. But if we get some momentum to the upside to push past our 100 or our 50 here, we can drop in order to sell there. But it's really close to that trend line. So we'll have to see whether or not it can jump, the break can jump above that trend line, even temporarily, and push towards the 200. Now, as far as the Euro CAD goes, you can see that we're trading below our 720 here. There's our 720 way up top. There's a lot of distance there. We've got our moving averages all below. They were in order to the downside. The 8 is just now jumping over the 21, so we're not going to call it really a mature trend, but we'll say it's trend to the downside. We want to pull back like we got here last quarter of the day of yesterday above our 50, and then we could have shorted there. It would have given us a tiny profitable trade, but a profitable trade nonetheless. So we're looking now, we're pulling back now past the 50. We're going to see what happens here. If we get a nice push back past the 50, we can drop in order to short on the 50. As far as the Euro Swiss goes, we're trading above our 720. All the moving averages are above the 720. They're trying to get in order to the downside, so there may still be a little bit of push to the downside as this kind of straightens out, but it may exhaust itself. We'll have to see, but we can place our orders up higher, our 50, on our 100 or our 200, which are kind of residing in the same area right now, right around this 110.80 place. So we can buy up there, place our buy order. Now, if this continues down, we can either improve the order as the moving averages come down, or we can cancel the order if we start to jump over our 720 and we really change direction. Other than that, we just improve our order until the momentum goes back in the favor of the preferred direction. As far as the Euro Pound goes, we're trading here below our 720. We've got all of our moving averages trading below the 722. It looks like the 100 is about to jump over the 200. So we're going to have to actually have a trend that's being set up to the upside, but we know that we're below our 720. So our preferred directions to the downside. So we can choose any one of these 50, 200, or 100 as our entry points. If you use the 21, you may use that as well for an entry point short. As far as the Euro Yen goes, we're trading above our 720. All the moving averages are in order to the upside here. Just slightly here, the 8 just jumped over the 21 and the 50. The 50 and the 21 are kind of sitting on top of each other. So we're just going to say we're trying to create trend to the upside here. Don't really have it perfectly just yet. But there's a lot of different distance between the 8 and the 720 and the 200. So our pension is to the upside. We're looking at upside moves. So anytime we're pulling back like we did here yesterday, a couple times here to this 100, we're dropping orders either on the 50 or on this 100 if we can. Euro New Zealand, we're trading below our 720 here. The moving averages are in order to the downside. Kind of a mini mature trend going on here. We did get a little bit of pullback past the 21, but not quite past the 50. We're going to wait as this matures and let's see what happens. Let's see if it pulls back to our 50 or to our 100. What I do notice here is that we created a low. We bounced, we kind of rolled over here, came back down, tested the low, didn't break it, and now we should trade off to the upside. So this is kind of a breakout bounce. So if I was going to do breakout bounce, since it's got a nice little archway, I'm going to draw my triangle in here. Pretty much the top right around the bottoms of the candles in the middle and my archway is going to be the top. And then I kind of find a little place here, maybe, this first candle or whatever candle this is when it's coming down, I'll make that like the bottom. I don't make it too big. I just want to make it an area where I can see this will be my entry. This will be my last entry, my second entry, or the conservative entry for a move to the upside. But what I see here is I'm trading below the 720. My moving averages long term are below the 720. So I probably wouldn't take that trade, not unless it showed that we were basically above the 720. If we're above the 720, I'll probably take that trade all day because that trades in our preferred direction. Other than that, I'm sorry about that. Other than that, on this Euro New Zealand, we have to wait for a pullback past the 50 or the 100. Now, as far as the Euro US goes, we're trading below our 720 here. We've got consolidation kind of happening here. It looks like it's getting smaller too as we go here. We got this kind of action kind of happening. Okay, I don't know why that comes up. And then we've got kind of this happening too at the same time. We've got kind of a flat area going across here where we're kind of hitting, you know, all of those candles. The majority of the candles are happening within this space. So we're picking up a little bit on the bottom. Let's see if we break out to the bottom. If we break out to the downside, then there's definitely some room to the downside here. But we're going to see what happens as this kind of squeezes itself into this mini kind of pennant area. But now we'd be waiting for pullbacks past our 50, past our 100 or 200. They're all really kind of close, so I'd probably use my 200 as my guide for that. Pound Aussie, we're trading here right below our 720. The 8 and 21 are below the 720, but all the long-term moving averages are above the 720. So we're going to be buyers on the 100 or on this 200. The 50 is just too close. It's too close. So we'll be buyers on this 100 or on the 200. And typically what will happen is the rate will go back in the direction of the overall trend. If it does not and the overall trend switches to the downside, we just delete the order. Okay. As far as the pound CAD goes, we're trading below our 720 here. All the moving averages are in order to the downside. We're going to wait till a pullback past our 50 or past our 100, and then we can drop orders on these levels. As far as the pound Swiss goes, we can see we're trading above our 720 here. This might be the scenario I was talking about. So for the breakout bounce, we're above the 720, but the pound Swiss is falling, right? So it created a low here. It rounded out like an archway here, and now it's kind of attempting to create another low. If this doesn't break the previous low, then we basically have a breakout bounce trade. And I draw my rectangle kind of my top near the bottoms here of this archway. And I just pick some space here. You see this candle that it's next to here. It's right around that same area. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything, but it's right around that first candle that we see here. And that would be my entry points. The bottom entry, the top entry. Okay. So we're above the 722. So my expectation is that this is going to take off to the upside. Now I also can buy based on my 100, my 200, and my 50 moving averages here as well. So I can play this two ways because we're both above the 720. I can still play it for buys, and I'm still trading in the preferred direction. That's a better setup than the other one, which was against the preferred direction. Pound yen, we're trading above our 720 here. You can see that we're trading right now above our 200, but we've fallen below the 100 and the 50 here. So we can buy on this 100 or on this 50, and that would be our entry order. All right, if it jumps down here below the 200 again, then we might improve the order to the 200. The pound US, we see that the just kind of like the Aussie US, we saw that the 720 is just kind of moseying along here, just through the middle here, just very, very flat. No angle up or down, just very, very flat. We see that the 200 and the 100 now today, early in trading, dropped below our 720. So that changes the game for us direction-wise. That's telling us now that we may be headed to the downside here. So our moving averages are in order to the downside. It's a mini trend. It's brand new. It's just a couple hours old. We're pushing down now, but we're going to wait as this develops till we get pullbacks past our 50 and past our 100 to short. Unless the moving averages jump over the top again, and then maybe we don't. We got to get some separation from that 720. Now, as far as the New Zealand CAD goes, we're trading below our 720. Our moving averages are all below. They're not quite in order because the 8 and 21 have jumped over the 50. So it's a little out of order right now. We've got a little bit of a trend line kind of going to the upside here based on our lows. That's kind of happening there. So we're getting some movement to the upside. These trend lines aren't something, yeah, I look at them as like support and resistance points, and then just a visual look to say, okay, this is the direction that we're kind of headed in. And, you know, are we getting higher lows or lower highs, or what are we getting? And you know, so it's just kind of a guide for me. It's not something that where I'm placing orders from it. Now, so as we do that, we're pulling back right now. We can see we've pulled back past our 50. So we could drop an order on this 50 to short, right? If we pull back past the 100, we might improve the order to the 100. Now, as far as the New Zealand Swiss goes, we're trading above our 720. We've got our moving averages just all kind of flat and spaghetti-ish here, just kind of flat and just trading off to the right here. The rate is above the 720, but it's just not getting separation in the moving averages. So we're going to kind of wait until this kind of breaks out, starts to give us something like we had in the beginning of the day yesterday, starts to break out and give us some separation between the moving averages. Right now, it's just not giving us that. There's indecisiveness in the market. New Zealand yen, we're trading above our 720. All the moving averages are in order to the upside here. Yesterday, we got a nice pullback past the 100 all the way down here, almost to the 200. And so we could have bought on this 100 or on the 50, and we would have had a profitable trade, right? So that definitely was a trade that we probably could have hit. Right around the beginning of the day, it would have kind of scared us a little bit just because the spread would have been wide, but that straightened itself out within the half hour, and then we were just off to the upside again. So this was definitely a good buy opportunity here. So we're just waiting on another pullback past our 50, past our 100 on the New Zealand yen. New Zealand US, we're trading below the 720. So all the moving averages are below the 720. So we're sellers at this point. So the most conservative trade I can make is on this 200. The 150 are not far away. I'd probably put this at least on the 200 if I decided I'm going to trade here, because we're getting real close to the 720 here. The rate's real close. The moving averages are starting to get close. I want to be as far away, you know, and stay within the strategy, but I want to be as far away from the rate as I can be, because I want the rate to commit to a move down before it picks me up and puts me in the order, right? I don't want it just as, you know, throw me in an order that I'm not ready for, you know, that when I'm definitely going to be headed to the upside here. You know, I don't want it to just throw me into that order. So, you know, that's the order that we have for New Zealand US. US dollar CAD is trading below our 720. We see our moving averages pretty much in order to the downside, except for the 8 just jumped over the 21. So we're in a trend pretty much to the downside, but we need to pull back past our 50, past our 100. Yesterday, we pulled back a little bit past the 100, so we could have dropped an order on this 50 to sell. Would have been slightly positive. So it would have gave us some time where it's kind of moving just sideways here, but our preferred direction is to the downside. So we can kind of be patient in that trade and wait to see if we get that downside move. US dollar Swiss, we're trading above our 720 here. You can see all the moving averages above the 720. Now they're starting to create that trend to the downside. So, you know, we kind of do respect that, but at the same time, our penchant and our preferred direction is really to the upside. So as we watch that, and it's, you know, to the upside, then what we're going to do is we're going to place our buys on maybe this 200 or 100. We can even use the 50 here if we want, because if we get momentum in the preferred direction, then we got momentum to the upside. We can gain some pips. And our last chart for the evening is the US dollar yen. US dollar yen is also trading above the 720. So right now we've been in this kind of mature trend for a little bit here. We can see the moving averages are in order to the upside. We've been in trend, but then we're trying to change to a mature trend here because we've got our moving averages all in order. And we're going to have to wait for a pullback past our 50 or past our 100 to make a buy trade here. So I hope that was informative for you. I hope that you're able to look at that and go, oh, wow, here's some opportunities for us. We're seeing what direction things are kind of going in, and then be able to, you know, place some orders, you know, tonight. So we're getting a little bit of direction in the market. It's not spectacular or anything like that, but we are definitely getting some movement in the market. So keep your eyes peeled for opportunities. And when we get those pullbacks, trigger those orders, put those pending orders on, because they're going to be able to, put some pips in your pocket. You don't have to take every order, but the ones you feel more sure about, definitely take those and see if you can start gaining some pips. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and your patience. Once again, this is Derek with iLi Academy, and I thank you for hanging out with me and checking us out here. All right. Thank you once again, and we'll see you tomorrow night's show. All right. Bye bye.